right, we are recording. Well, before we start, I feel like I have to bring this up. Punnu, you just got married.
Yes.
Oh, that's true. I just got married.
Start by talking about this because we haven't even talked about it yet. And the way that I found out in sort of poetic fashion was just like a casual post, a story of you and Catherine just holding hands, and it's got like wedding on it. And what I loved about it is it wasn't this like big announcement. It wasn't this like huge. It was just it was like as if you were posting what your breakfast was.
We both wanted to be a very simple one.
Yeah.
And of course, we are going through such a period that in Switzerland, we are not allowed to have more than 5 people. You know, in our wedding ceremony, we couldn't have more than 5. So it's not a big, grand, fat wedding and like Indians, you know, 1,000 and 2,000 people getting together. So we just wanted to be a very simple. I mean, this was the signing of the papers and, you know, the family members coming together.
Yeah.
But eventually when everything is open and everything settled down, we want to do Indian wedding, which will be most probably in Bali or India. There will be like the ceremony, you know, the Indian wedding. But then also we want to do something in Switzerland because Catherine's family is in Switzerland. So it'll be like 5 different celebrations: Switzerland, Sweden, India, Bali. Where else, Catherine? Moon. Just kidding. So that's just like that. Yeah.
Is Catherine there? Is Catherine there?
Catherine is just near.
Can she come out and say hi to her?
Oh,
Catherine,
yeah.
you want to say hello? Come on.
Hi, Catherine. Come on. We'd love to see you.
Come, Catherine. Okay, then I'm going to put it on the speaker phone. Internal speakers. Come. Catherine, come.
Don't be shy.
Don't be shy. And I am with my friends here, Michelle and Daisy. We are actually in beautiful location here in Cloisters. In
That's your wife?
Switzerland. I'm gonna make it big.
I'm not.
No, that's not my wife. Wait, that's not my wife. That's Michelle.
Hi, Catherine.
Oh,
my wife.
Also not his wife. So that's his wife.
Oh, that's not Catherine.
That's not Catherine either.
That's not Catherine. Catherine, come on here.
I don't know if I can believe the next person is going to be her.
That's Catherine.
Hey, Catherine.
She's coming in waves.
Well, I just wanted to share a blessing with you guys. I'm so happy for you both, and I just wish you all the health and harmony and beauty in your marriage. It really like touched my heart when I learned about that. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm happy for both of you, and I would love to be in a conversation to learn about the motivation to be married and what prompted this action and the commitment, and what do you promise each other and what do you expect from each other? Ooh, I think that would be such an interesting conversation.
That was my question also.
That will be another session.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe along the beach in Bali.
We know each other for more than 7 years now. We met each other in Yogaban in Bali. And that's where this whole love scene started. And then we traveled to India, we traveled to Nepal, we traveled to Peru, to Brazil, to Switzerland, to Sweden, where else? America, Atlanta. Yeah. So yeah, it's been like traveling and knowing each other well. So it took us 7 years before we decided, okay, this is the time that we want to get back.
I had to check them out.
You know, Swiss people, they check.
You had to feel them out a little.
They really check if this person is good or not.
Catherine, I heard you're teaching Punnu how to be on time for stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And Catherine and Michelle, they both are my ski teachers. So I've been learning skiing with both of them. Yeah. They have been very good teachers. And today, finally, without falling, I could come from the high hill all the way down 2 times.
Oh, so bravo!
Very happy that finally I learned
black
skiing.
one. Did you do black one? The black diamond?
No. Just a simple one. Like the small kids, you know.
Punnu, I love that you are learning new things. I think that is an indication for me of the childlike openness and curiosity.
Yeah.
And to see you activate that and tumble and get up and do it again it's a lovely thing to see in another human being. And from my perspective, it is one of the things that shines from you.
Thank you, Greg. You know what I've been learning in this, like whenever I have a fear of something, like for example, skiing, I was so much in fear, like I knew that I'm going to fall down. And the moment I thought that I'm going to fall down, I fell down.
Yeah.
And then I fell down and I couldn't stop laughing on myself. That, oh my God, see how the mind works. The moment you think that you're going to fall down, you fall down.
Yeah.
And then I was lying down there in the snow and looking at the sky and laughing like a kid.
The others were also laughing.
The others were, and Michel, I would be very grateful, and I'm very thankful to him, because he was like helping me to stand up. It's so difficult to stand up with the skis in the evening. And then Catherine also, like, you know, trying her best to lift me up. And oh my God, I felt like a bad, you know, kid who don't know how to walk.
I feel like you could make an entire like feature length documentary on Punnu's journey into skiing.
Oh yeah.
Finally today, Catherine took few of my videos, which she's about to post on Instagram.
Yeah.
My first skiing, you know, it's like the 4th day of skiing.
Yeah.
Wow. So you are progressing from top to bottom.
And from bottom to top.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so slowly the fear is going up. You know.
Yeah. Well, Catherine, we won't keep you too long, because we're gonna start talking about some meditation stuff. But thank you for joining. It's just beautiful.
Yes. Thank you, Catherine.
See you again.
And we are on our honeymoon now with this skiing and
but
celebrating.
Without honey.
But without honey. We just have the moon. Cool.
All right. It was nice meeting you, Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you, Catherine. You too.
Nice day, and see you another time. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Bye-bye.
Bye. Well,
I'm gonna move on to the different.
So today, I wanted to pick back up on this conversation that we were having 2 weeks ago about this idea of inner intelligence, right? Because I hear that term a lot, inner intelligence. We're trying to awaken the inner intelligence, or Greg, as you shared, the inner wisdom, which is another word which might have other meanings. But my experience when I started meditation was that I would close my eyes and it would just feel kind of like darkness and nothingness and uncomfortable. And so, Greg, maybe I'll put it to you first. And then Punnu after. When you hear that and when you think about the beginner's process of understanding meditation and awakening that inner wisdom, how does that happen? How is that different from just sitting there doing nothing and watching your breath? And how does that process go as you see it?
So I've understood the question, and I'm contemplating how to respond. So from my perspective, to a large extent, not fully, not 100%, but to a large extent, inner wisdom is not developed so much as it's uncovered. For example, to notice being triggered and emotionally reactive and then explosive with my language and my behavior and then regretting it is a very important behavior pattern to be able to see. Because once I see it, I'm able to I'm able to not be as engaged in that process, such that eventually, instead of automatically exploding, there's another option. That, to me, is what I would call the beginning of the flowering of wisdom, that you realize there's another option. Mm. Now the developing part is, okay, so now what do you do? If you're not going to explode, what do you do in such a way that it doesn't harm others and it doesn't harm yourself?
Yeah, yeah. That distinction between developing it and uncovering it, it seems subtle, but it's a huge distinction. Developing it is, I'm going to work for this. Developing it is like pushing your muscle versus wiping away, revealing it. I had this friend here in Maui, he was telling me a story about how he did this really epic hike into like the canyons of Kauai. And when you get to the center of it, there's this community of people who live there and they're totally off the grid. And there was a child who was born there, and his parents raised him without language. So my friend was meeting this 8-year-old boy who had never entered the realm of language. And he was telling me all of these just crazy experiences that he was having around this child. This child was entering his dreams at night. This child was like guiding him spiritually, like teaching him stuff. And to me, that was a really illuminating visualization for me, because I think when I hear intelligence, like we think of the human intelligence, like the one that would build a company or govern a country. Like that is a part of intelligence, and that is man intelligence. But then there's also this realization that we didn't invent humans. We invented buildings and companies, but we didn't invent humans. We just kind of showed up here. So there's all these other rules and all these other workings happening inside. And the only way we can access that is to uncover, to reveal, and to get out of the way and leave that dimension of human intelligence and enter this sort of mysterious workings of all this and all of nature. But yeah, for me, that was the beginning of my understanding, is like drawing that distinction between what you said and generating, which I was so used to, and revealing. So Punnu, same question to you.
So according to my understanding, and also from all the teachers that I have learned and what I'm practicing in my own personal life, is I differentiate between intellect and intelligence. Intellect is a superior ability that is born out of accumulated information, organized information. Intelligence, on the other hand, belongs to the heart. Intelligence is more observation that proceeds from inner silence, from total awareness. Intelligence is something that happens to you when you are at peace with yourself. When you have put together the various fragmented parts of yourselves together. That is what is intelligence. And it is our level of intelligence that determines the quality of our life that we live. And in the trainings that we do in this meditation trainings, this is what the whole idea is, to bring that, to dedicate for the cultivation of the heart, for the cultivation of intelligence, for nurturing the larger part of the being. So you might have heard this everywhere we go, everywhere, every book we read, every course we attend, every seminar we attend, every intelligent men and women that we meet, we get these suggestions, advices: be happy, think positive, be happy. Well, yes, we try to be happy, we try to think positive, and we do think positive many a times, but sometimes in spite of our best efforts to be happy, in spite of our best efforts to think positive, we seem to lose that. We seem to slide back to the states of disquiet. We seem to slide back to the states of inner chatter, which is not really comfortable. And we do not want to have this negative thoughts. You know, we do make positive assertions. Still, there is this feeling that I'm not doing something right.
Yeah.
I've just not got the essence of it. I've just not got the way to do it. If only I would get the way to do it, then perhaps I would be able to sustain the positive thinking for the larger part of my day. Thinking where there is no fear. Thinking where I don't get depressed so easily. Thinking where I don't get disturbed so easily. So what can one do for this? So in the laboratory of human life, both in my own and in the lives of the people that I got that honor of interacting, I have observed that it's possible to think positively, to feel positively only when our relationships are healed. And this plays a very, very important role, because we talk about yoga, we talk about asanas, we talk about alignment, we talk about meditations. But one thing we miss in life, that life is relationships. Relationships are not just part of life. Life is relationships. And how does this intelligence grow? That when everything is working harmoniously. Our relationship with our parents, with our siblings, with our partner, with our children, with people who we interact with, our students, with our teachers, with the nature, with ourselves above all, our teachers, with our colleagues, our relationship with our colleagues, and everything. So we focus on different areas, not only just on one thing, but every area of every aspect of our life. And this is what all these teachings that I've learned from different teachers, Greg has learned from different teachers, and also adapted in bringing in cultivation from our own heart, from our own experiences. This is what we want to bring about in this training. We want to pour out our hearts.
And one thing that you said that I want to just go into a little bit deeper. It's like so when we talk about revealing and we talk about doing less, I've experienced in the past where I do less, I become more still, I become more silent, but still feel awful. And I think that's what you're speaking to, is that it's the revealing process. It's not about just becoming a monk and doing nothing and hoping everything transforms. Like there is an active process of healing that you have to, that you need to go through. I think of it like this, like Satguru says this, he's like, the desire to transcend something only comes when our elements are out of balance. when we're feeling out of balance in some area in life, when we're feeling discomfort, when we're feeling conflict, suddenly I need to transcend this. I need to be somewhere else. So maybe I'll meditate and go, and none of this will matter. But I think that's really different. So I think what he's pointing to is that when you actually get your life energies in order, when your life energy with your relationships with your parents, your lovers, your friends, your relationship with food, your relationship with work, when your relationships are suddenly in harmony, now you can approach all of those from a balanced place where you're not being taken out of your intelligence when you're moving into those relationships. And to me, I can second that as just in my own journey of like many years of doing so much work and feeling like I'm not really getting anywhere, suddenly having the courage to like move into healing relationships, move into developing harmony with my really like addressing my challenges, my relationships with work and food and all these things, and my relationship to ambition and all these like sort of weighty, heavy emotions that come to us in the West. And then it's like the breakthrough comes, right? And then
Absolutely.
we can experience meditation. So yeah, I can definitely I can definitely relate to that. And so I also want to come to this question, Greg, of maybe potentially this difference between intelligence as we're talking about it now and wisdom. Do you see a difference in those?
When I'm considering how I believe Punnu is using the word, intelligence, the way that I'm understanding Punnu to use it, is beyond human, as in nature has intelligence, and it's beyond the earth too. So what we're talking about in terms of intelligence, if I were to put it into language, it would be fundamental goodness that is being expressed. So it's in the act of expression. For a human being to tap into that and to live from that place. First of all, I would call that human wisdom. So now I've just narrowed it into the human domain. But secondly, that's what I would call flourishing. And maybe I should just take that word flourishing and put it on the shelf for now, because to go into it may end up distracting us from this conversation about intelligence and wisdom. I want to come back to the notion that a human being is able to be so clean that there's no self, no ego that is driving her behavior or her interactions. That is not to say that she doesn't take care of herself, but that taking care of herself is motivated by a fundamental kindness to herself and all others, which is so different than, if I don't take care of myself, what's going to happen? This is going to go so bad.
Yeah, I think that's I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that is also present in all of these conversations, and it's sort of easy to overlook that there is this innate goodness, there is this innate benevolence in stepping into this path, and which also is a necessary component. And and I think in the conscious field of Earth right now, there's a lot of stuff that appears to, and there's a lot of stuff that's distracting us, and there are a lot of different agendas that we can feel we're being brought into these ways of being that are disconnected from this truth that we have, that we are all actually just trying to do good on this planet for ourselves and for one another. So I often bring our students into this little exercise. I say, close your eyes and imagine, probably within all of us, all of us sitting here right now, within about 500 feet of us right now, there's probably someone that we have never met. We know nothing about this person, so they're completely neutral to us. And if you could wish this person either complete abundance and joy and love and pleasure in their life, or total suffering, all else equal, you're going to want that person to live a life of abundance and joy and all the things. And I really believe that is in our core, that we're everything that we're doing is, at least from our own perception, trying to help, trying to do good, and trying to make things better. It's innate in everything that happens in nature and in the human realm. But I think where one, I think we lose connection to that, where by either, like you're talking about, we get triggered, or we let a different thought or idea drive us, which becomes more important, which we could call ego. But I think I think if in, my original inroad into spirituality was through Tibetan Buddhism. And so that's very much in that, that's very much a part of that ethos. And there's sort of this constant reminder that you're not just doing this for yourself. Think about your family, think about the people that this is going to touch, because that is part of the motivation. And I think that, I kind of had this realization after, we've worked with a lot of teachers and we've had a lot of different experiences at East+West. And the one thing that all of our teachers do is just create this field of benevolence. And what we do in that field, it's always different, but I think what is important is creating this field of just love, safety, security, and everyone moving into that part of themselves where they can connect and actually act from that place of inherent benevolence. So Punnu, when you're creating an environment, like when we do a training in Bali or, a training in Europe, and we're structuring an environment where people can come in, and they're coming from a world which is very different, and a world where, they're coming from a world of a lot of stress. They're coming from a world of anxiety. They're coming from a world of relationships that aren't harmonious, and then bringing them into an environment which it helps them tune into their natural intelligence and this natural benevolence. How do you create that environment?
The first and foremost is, there is never this notion of I'm the teacher and you are a student. There is a friendship. There's a friendship that we create, that everyone is open and feels welcomed. It's not like there's this, maybe he or she knows more than what I don't know. So there's this feeling that we create this safety, and where everybody feels okay. There is this chance of opening into a beautiful blossoming into a flower, So there are different ways. It's where they get in touch with the core of themselves through techniques, through teachings, through their practices. So there are different ways that this opens up in the people who come for the trainings. And when it is going to happen, we don't know. So we just create this open field, where they are very comfortable in.
Yeah.
And I like to call it a field of friendship.
Yes. Two things I wanted to say about that. one, this was something really interesting I learned recently from some of the science around the body starting to open up. So there's this new theory about the nervous system called Polyvagal Theory. I don't know if either of you have heard this, and I won't get too into it because it gets kind of technical, but actually, you know, the way we've distinguished the nervous system is parasympathetic or sympathetic, which either it's like, it's sort of like on or off. You're either like agitated or you're totally relaxed, which doesn't quite get to what is going on. And actually, in the latest sort of model of the nervous system is actually that social attunement, meaning like what we're doing now, we're having a conversation, we're laughing, like that is actually the optimal state of the nervous system. It is healthiest in that state. And so when we do yoga together, we're attuning in a group. You're listening to the cues of other people. You're following cues of the teacher. When you're dancing together, when you're singing together, all these things that we're doing that feel so good, we're actually attuning to the healthiest state of our nervous system. One layer below that is the sort of movement evoking, the one that we get a little agitated and we want to move, we want to shake, we want to do something to fight it off. The sort of the heaviest part after we get so stressed is shutdown. And so the body becomes dull. And I think, you know, what I know for myself, when I first came into an environment like what you're talking about, I was shut down. Like my body just, my emotions were shut down, my voice was shut down. And I think that that's very common to enter an experience like this from that space. And for me, it can be a little jarring at first because I just don't know what to do. But this is the point I was getting to, is that, you know, when you talk about creating an open field, and actually when someone is in that shutdown state, it's the science says that you just create spaciousness for them. It's like, so that our nervous systems can come out themselves in their own way, versus come here, you're going to do this. And then it doesn't work that way. It unfolds by the human intelligence being like, okay, I'm safe. I understand what's going on here. Now I can start to express myself. The second thing I wanted to say is that I think that I sense that students who come into trainings like this, we in the West are so fixated on the techniques. We're like, what techniques am I going to learn? How am I going to hold my body? How many breaths am I going to do? Are we doing 3 breaths or 4 breaths? Like as if that's the thing that they're learning. That's there, right? These techniques are good, but I think that what is surprising and so beautiful for students to feel on a training like this that is not recorded, right? It's not a technique driven training, is that they are on this journey of unfolding in themselves, and that we're all doing that together, including us. Like, and I know that we feel this, like our hearts are opening on the training with them as we grow as people with them and learn from them too. And so, yeah, I thought that was important to voice also, just for the people out there listening, that, you know, when you come into learn meditation, it's not like, here's the techniques, we're going to spend, 5 days talking about the nuances of this technique and bye. It's like, no, we're all here as friends, like going on this epic journey together. And yeah, that is just so cool and fun and rewarding for everyone.
And this is what I was sharing about. We don't want anyone to be highly intellectual after the training.
Yeah.
I mean, intellectual, as I mentioned, it's good to have intellect.
Yeah.
The difference is that wisdom, that intelligence, like for example, in the last meeting, Greg was mentioning about Newton. He was highly intellectual. He was the person who thought about how the apple fall down. Normally we don't,
Yeah.
There was one incident which happened in Newton's life. Is he was sitting in his house, and it was getting cold, so he called up his worker, the person who was helping him. He said, please go and get some wood because it's getting cold. And that worker was actually very intelligent. He said, sir, why don't you bring your chair closer to the fire? It's so simple. So it's intelligence, how we use intelligence. It's so simple.
Well, and
actually, life is very, very simple. We make it so complicated with the intellectual abilities. We think, oh, this has to be like this. No.
Well, another realization I had about Newton, if you ask people like who invented gravity, they say Newton. But he didn't invent it. He just saw it. He just said, "Oh, that's happening." So it's like yes. There's sort of this like distorted perspective, and it's the same thing for Einstein. It's the same thing for you know, you could even say Freud and why the evolution guy? Why is his name
Jung? Darwin.
Darwin, yeah. All of their genius was just in their ability to notice what was happening with intelligence. They didn't invent anything. Yes. They just described it. And so, but I think that we've gotten pulled into obsessing about the person as if they did something, and we ignore the intelligence.
They discovered it.
Yeah, they just wrote it.
Yeah,
translated it. So I think to me that was a moment when I realized that, I was like, wow, there's this whole other realm that I'm not even aware of, because I'm too focused on the path that those people have created, as if that is a truth. And it is potentially there's some truth and insight in that. But the real opportunity is to explore that deeper intelligence that they were describing. And there's still so much to describe about it. There's still so much to learn and explore about that intelligence.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Well, I think we've been on for not quite an hour. I think that's a good stopping point for this week. So we'll pick up again next week. This has been so fun. I look forward to these conversations every week.
Yes, me too. I'm grateful for the questions, and I'm grateful for the insights and the sort of back and forth that we have as we're all contemplating what meditation is, why we meditate, and finding language to be able to describe, at the very least, the invitation.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. we can go deeper into the next session about a little bit of meditation, you know.
Yeah.
So that if you guys are up for.
Yeah, we've only talked about the invitation at this point. We haven't even gotten into any of the actual like inner process yet. So yeah, that'll be a great topic for next week. So yeah, thank you both. Much love to you, and I'm going to enjoy your honeymoon.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Greg.
Bye,
nice catching up with you guys. Bye-bye. And much love. Blessings.